Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. Let's start today's video off with updates of Derek Lunsford and Hadi Choopan, who both posted up similar updates recently. Now, this update of Hadi could definitely be older, but between the two, I would definitely say Hadi wins this comparison. Almost every week, guys, maybe even every day, my thoughts about how this year's Olympia is gonna go changes. One day I think Hadi may win, the next day I think Derek Lunsford may win. But regardless, I do think we're gonna have a great show this year, and I still think it's gonna come down to Derek Lunsford versus Hadi Choopan, just like it has for the past 2 years. And in the next update of the day, we have a recent update from the mutant Nick Walker. And out of all of the top guys going into this year's Olympia, I think Nick Walker is by far the guy that is counted out the most. And that is probably because of his structure, the good issue at the Pittsburgh Pro, and Andrew Jacked winning this year's Texas Pro. Since Andrew won the Texas Pro, a lot of people are really pushing Nick out of their top 5, moving up Andrew and saying that Samson is going to stay over Nick Walker. But I do want to mention this. Despite Nick's structure from the side, from the back, this guy's very competitive. There's 4 shots Nick Walker can hold his own in versus everyone in the world, so don't count out this guy yet. Now next up, we have a recent update of Hunter Labrada ahead of this year's Italy Pro. I have no idea why Hunter added a slight tilt to his front double bicep. I think it looks better when Hunter hits it straight on. So in the caption of this post, Hunter said his biggest focus going into the Italy Pro is focusing on presentation, posing, and just overall stage presence, which has been Hunter's biggest weakness outside of his conditioning, but it seems like him and Ben Chow have somewhat figured out the conditioning. Definitely at last year's Tampa Pro, Hunter was spot on, the best showing of his career. I love what I'm seeing from Hunter this year. He definitely looks improved. It's just hard to say Hunter is going to move up at the Mr. Olympia because the guys ahead of him, very, very good. But let's see how he does in Italy. Now next up, we have a recent guest posing from Martin Fitzwater around 8 weeks out from this year's Olympia. Very excited to see what Martin is going to bring to the stage. Just a reminder for you guys. Martin was only 1 point behind Nick Walker at the New York Pro at prejudging and at finals. If Nick slipped just a little bit, Martin would have got the nod over Nick Walker. And I said this immediately following the New York Pro, but Martin taking second in New York may have been the most hype I've ever seen being built up by second place. Maybe Derek Lunsford placing second in his Open Olympia debut, but as far as the regular pro shows go, Martin built a ton of hype from placing second, and Nick Walker actually lost stock from winning that show, which was very interesting. Some people could argue that Martin could be a little bit more conditioned here. He's coached by Boss of Outlaw. He'll be conditioned by stage time. Now, also at the same guest posing, we had Brett Wilkin, who should be about 6 or 7 weeks out from this year's Legion Sports Fest. And if Brett is able to pull off a win at the Legion Sports Fest, it will qualify him for the 2025 Mr. Olympia. I think Brett looks very good here. He has a very clean physique, very young physique. The only thing I can really critique on is Brett needs more overall size if we're talking about a top 10 placing at the Mr. Olympia. But he had a child last year. He took some time off. He's definitely added most of the size back, if not all, but this is a great idea to qualify early and get a full year off. I'm excited to see Brett in just a few weeks. Now next up, we have some recent updates from Rafael Brandão. I know it's a lot of guys I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see everyone, but Rafa and Martin, really rooting for those two guys this year. I hope that both of them can definitely place within the top 8, but maybe push up a little bit higher than that. Let's see how they look next to maybe Hunter Labrada, Nick Walker. Martin was only 1 point away from Nick, but excited to see what Rafa's going to bring, man. This guy was 10th in his Olympia debut. He's added a ton of size. Rafa needs to be peeled at the O. Now next up, we have a recent back double bicep from the conqueror William Bonac. And Bonac has had a pretty good season, man. He won the Impro Classic when pretty much everyone counted him out. I'm sure not many people had Bonac beating Crizo and Beirut at this stage in his career. Runner-up at the Portugal Pro to Nathan Diasha, and also runner-up at the Dubai Pro. This could definitely be William Bonac's last year in the sport, but without a doubt, he went out with a bang if it is his last year. Now next up, we have a recent update from Regan Grimes. Now I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but we've slowed down a little bit on the Regan updates. And it's just because I feel like we go through the same cycle when it comes to Regan. He looks great in the off season, looks like he's added a ton of size. but once he starts to compete, he just seems to be missing something. Now, to be fair, he is a top 10 guy at the Mr. Olympia now. He finally brought the conditioning, but I'm not really sure, guys. We go through this cycle of getting really hyped up by Regan, and once he hops on stage, it just doesn't look the same. Now let's switch over to Classic Physique. We have a recent update from Mike Sommerfeld, a very impressive update from Mike Sommerfeld. So Mike was 8th at the 2023 Mr. Olympia, but he was actually top 5 at the 2022 Mr. Olympia. Wesley Vissers and Michael DeBull got the nod over him last year, but this guy really blew up in the offseason. I was almost thinking he was going to go to Open, but looks like Mike will be staying in Classic, and I'm blown away by this look. He may be top 5 this year. But let's go ahead and wrap up today's video here with the archive of the day. You guys let me know in the comment section below who is this legendary bodybuilder. And as always, I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. And if you have not done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. My apologies for the slight delay in bodybuilding news. News has been a little bit slow, and I'm actually switching jobs. I will still be a gym manager, but now I am managing a bigger gym. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm Krishan from Go Fitness, and that's it. I'm out.